Well, hello and welcome to sunny Olsztyn for the FIVB's 5th and final beach volleyball Grand Slam of the season. Really is a wonderful place to watch beach volleyball. The sun is shining today as well, and it is an action-packed day here in Poland, and we start with a bit of a historical matchup, as for the first time in their history. Polish pair Kinga Kolosinska and MeppelinkVan will contest a semi-final at the highest level. They take on the talented Dutch team of Meppelink and Van Iersel. It should be a cracker of a game in this beautiful historical city. And the good news, as you can see in front of you, is that the weather is sunny. It's not the warmest today, just 20 degrees out there. It should be even warmer tomorrow, but there's barely a cloud in the sky. It's in stark contrast to what we saw yesterday in the quarterfinal, where it was pouring down with rain. But I think the spectators and the players will enjoy playing in these weather conditions a little more. So what do we know then about the Dutch pair? There is Van Iersel and the likes of Meppelink. They are 7th seeds for this one, and it should be a very tight match when you consider that their opponents today, Kolosinska and Brzostek, are the 8th seeds. So we could well see this one go the distance. And they have met before. Twice, in fact 3 times before, and it is the Dutch pair who lead by 2 matches to 1. The first time that they met back in 2014, and it was Meppelink and Van Iersel who won on that occasion. They've met twice this year in Perec in the major series, and the Polish team came out on top of that one. It went the distance though, and then it went the distance again in Yokohama, where it was Meppelink and Van Iersel who won on that occasion, 16-14 in the third. You just wonder, though, about this home advantage for the Polish duo. As you can see, it's pretty packed in the stands, and the fans will no doubt be getting behind their pair, who, as I've already mentioned, are contesting their first semi-final. As for the Dutch team, well, this is their 5th semis of the year, and it is their 3rd semis in a Grand Slam event. They reached the semis of Sao Paulo, and they reached the final of Moscow, where they were able to pick up the silver medal. They also picked up the silver in Lucerne. Just Meppelink is the only player, incidentally, out of the 4 contesting this semi-final who has actually gone on and won a Grand Slam event before. She won in Corrientes with her partner Van Hestel back in 2013. As we take a look at Van Iersel, and it is Meppelink who is number 1, Van Iersel who is number 2 for them. Look very similar, don't they? I will help you out as much as I can, though, of course. And here we go then. You can tell by the noise. Won a lot of fans yesterday. It was their first quarter-final of the year that they contested yesterday, and they had to deal with a lot of pressure, and they dealt with it brilliantly well. Up against a tricky American pairing, the likes of Sweat and her partner. But they were able to come through it, and they came through it in straight sets. It was relatively comfortable in the end for Kolosinska and Brzostek. It's tough to know who really is the favourite for this one. It's going to be Brzostek, though, to get us underway in this semi-final. This first semi-final, of course. The second semi-final does follow this one at 11:15 local time, but it's Brzostek to start this one. Can the Poles reach their first ever Grand Slam final? Great start, though, by the Dutch pair. Van Iersel with the spike. So it will be Van Iersel to serve. Went for it, certainly didn't hold back. 57 kilometers an hour, just a little too long. So Kolosinska next to serve. She's got a vicious serve. Had a fair few aces against the American pairing of Fendrick and Sweat. You do feel Polish volleyball is improving all the time on the men's side of the game and on the women's side of the game. It's highlighted by this semi-final here, and they will feel this is a great opportunity against a team that they will feel they can beat. Nice little rallies, a little bit of confusion on the Dutch side, and then it's just pushed long by Van Iersel. Of course, this is the land of Volleyland. 12th time that Poland has held a Grand Slam event. First time, though, here in Olsztyn. Set up now for the likes of Meppelink, who goes down the line. Brilliantly defended, though, by Brzostek. Can't find the gap on the other side of the court, and this one's going to be set for Van Iersel. And there was a big space in the back of the court. Couldn't quite get themselves organised in time there, the Polish team. Good awareness shown by Van Iersel. Just nudging it over the top of the block of Kolosinska. It's back to Van Iersel to serve. Yet to see a point one on serve. Brzostek underneath that one, but couldn't control the dig, and it's pounced on. And pounced on superbly well by Meppelink. Easy put away, really. It was a great serve, though, by Van Iersel, which really set the point up. It was tricky for the Polish side to sort themselves out from that serve. They just couldn't quite control it. Needed a little softer hand. So what has Van Iersel got on this occasion? It's a nick off the net, but Brzostek is able to adjust to it, and she's looking to try and finish the rally off here, and does so. Fingertips used just to tip it into the backcourt. That is a lovely slow motion replays. The Dutch side could only watch and see as it bounced within the baseline. Two sides, of course, change ends. Back to Kolosinska to serve then. First serve was a service fault. She's a little more conservative this time. Up goes Van Iersel, and that's a powerful spike down the line. Terrific strike. She is the older of the two, Van Iersel, 27 years of age, from The Hague. Technically sound on the hit. Van Iersel again with the serve. Kolosinska. Fairway back was Brzostek. Not the best of sets from Kolosinska, but it's a great block, but it does land just wide. So it's another point for the Dutch pair. Started this semis a little better. Of course, maybe the Poles just feeling a few early nerves in front of the home crowd. New experience for them, being in a semi-final of a Grand Slam event. Of course, they were in the semis of Moscow last year. That one's a fair way wide. So timeout called, understandably so. Great start by Meppelink and Van Iersel. They lead by 7 points to 3. Well, they come into this event having finished 9th after the Long Beach Grand Slam, Meppelink and Van Iersel. They were 5th in Yokohama, so it's been a while since they've contested the semis. The last one coming in Stavanger. The last one in a Grand Slam was in Moscow this year, where they won the semi-final, got through to the final and picked up a silver medal there. And they'll see this as a great opportunity. As I say, both teams will see this as a winnable fixture. In terms of how long they've played together, they've been together since the start of 2014 of the Dutch pair. As for the Poles in your picture, well, they've played together since 2009. And they actually won their first ever tournament, which was a Junior World Championships in Blackpool, England. And that really is their only tournament they have won together. But you do feel they are improving. A young pair, of course. Kolosinska just 25 years of age. Brzostek 26. First service fault for either of the Dutch pair. Brzostek now then to serve. Goes down the line. It's Van Iersel who's underneath it. And Van Iersel will go with the spike, angling it cross-court. Brzostek will be up to just scrap at the net. Meppelink doing a great job, though. Spreading her arms and making it tough for the Polish pair to get it past it. They've done a good job here. there from the Netherlands, just to silence this home crowd. It's all a little quiet right now on centre court. That would have been something that I'm sure they would have worked with their coach, making a top start, and that's a top serve. Super hit by Van Iersel. It's a healthy lead here for the Dutch playing. Look how it swerves in the air, right in between the Polish pair. I think momentarily there they didn't quite know who was going to go for it. Back to Van Iersel. Can she pick up another cheap point? It's better defended this time and superbly put away. Excellent spike by Brzostek. Got up well, fired it down. Used the power and found the court. So for Kolosińska, who hasn't really found a rhythm yet on serve. Again, just looks to float one in rather than going for power. That's neat and tidy play yet again from the Dutch pair. Good disguise on the set too. Just going in behind. And really, it just left the Polish pair guessing, hence the open space there. Big, wide open space across the court. 5-point game. And Iersel again to serve, to Brzostek. Fair way away from the court, but that's lovely hand skills. Just dinking it into the near court. Just need to play a few more points like this, the Polish pair. Didn't panic there. Lovely deft touch from Brzostek. Well, they won their last 16 match coming from a set down. The Polish pair. It was a terrific win over Barnsley and Paven, the Canadian third seeds. So they won't be too worried about going down early on in this first set. There's Brzostek to serve. It's an excellent little serve as well, has the Dutch pair scrambling. And a nice block as well from Kolosińska, but she did touch the net. So it will be another point for the Dutch pair. Have a look at this. Yeah, it's a little too close. In fact, it was her thigh that caught the bottom end of the net. Here's MeppelinkVan to serve next. Kolosińska looking ready. It does go to Kolosińska. Does a good job of just feeding it up in the air, and that's a brilliant strike. Lovely set by Brzostek. Gave Kolosińska plenty of time to get ready for the spike. Near perfect beach volleyball there. Nice reception on the serve. Lovely little set and a put away. And we see the same from the Dutch pair. We can indeed. Different type of put away, but it's just as effective with the angled hit across the court. Great diving reception, wasn't it, on the dig. She was able to get back up to her feet quickly to set herself for the spike. Meppelink with the serve, goes to Brzostek. Nice high set from Kolosińska, and an excellent put away too. Firing it down the line. Just about the right height of set there from Kolosińska. Plenty of time for Brzostek to wind up on the spike. So as we head into another timeout, it is the Dutch pair who lead by 3 points, 12-9. Nicely poised, isn't it? So looking to reach their third final of the year, Meppelink and Van Iersel. They've played with different partners in the past. Meppelink with Van Hestel, who was in the second semi-final. It'll be Van Hestel and Van der Vlist, taking on the Brazilian top seeds, Thalita Antunes and Larissa França, who of course will be the favourites to claim this Grand Slam. But you just never know, do you, in this sport? Both of these teams playing with plenty of confidence. They're beginning to find a rhythm, the Polish pair, having been 5 points down, now just the 3. Brzostek to serve. It's going to be set up for Van Iersel. Good block by Kolosiniska, but it really block it up into the air and it falls outside the court, so get another point for the Dutch pair. Served in underneath it is Brzostek. It's time to leap and fires it down the middle of the court. Super spike. Just beginning to read the serve a little more, you feel here, the Poles. They're doing a better job on the reception. And in turn, that's enabling them to set up the attacks a little better. Deep formation for both the Poles, but then Kolosiniska charging forward, but they were quick to react there, the Dutch pair, seeing the space at the front of the court. A little tip at the front. So it'll be Meppelink to serve next. Goes down the middle, Kolosiniska taking charge, but that's a little close with the set really from Brzostek, and it allowed Meppelink to get on top of the net. Just stopped the spike, didn't it? So a slight error there from Brzostek. Good blocking skills though by Meppelink. Back to Meppelink to serve again then, and there's that 5-point advantage. Just under hitting the serve into the net. Haven't seen too many service faults in this first set. It's been high quality from the 7th and 8th seeds. Majority of the points being won with some great attacking play. There is Brzostek to serve for the Poles. Underneath it is Van Iersel. She shows great awareness. Seeing Brzostek just moving up the court there. So just dinking it over the top of Kolosiniska. Many ways you can win the point in beach volleyball. That is one of them. You don't always have to go with power at the front of the court. Here is Van Iersel to serve for the Dutch. Just 5 points away then from taking the first set. Kolosiniska, high set, and Brzostek gets the job done on the spike. Fiercely contested this one. Nice and close to the net, up against Meppelink. Kolosiniska then with the serve. It's going to be set up by Van Iersel. Meppelink with the spike, and it's a good one. Pretty clinical on the spike is Meppelink. An excellent volleyball. Everything looked under control. Floated in short. Brzostek alert to the danger, and Kolosiniska able to react to the situation and just prod it over the net. Nice little angle at the front of the court. It was a great reception from Brzostek and quick thinking from Kolosiniska. Brzostek then back to serve. Cross court. He's going to have to run to try and cover this one. It's good hand skills from Kolosiniska. He's going to have to try and spike this one. We haven't seen too many rallies. We have one here. Brzostek keeping the rally alive as well, and finished off by Kolosiniska. Excellent counter-punching play from the Poles. Brzostek a couple of times there with the dig. Kolosiniska just about getting it away from Van Iersel, who went with the dive and couldn't quite get there. So again, 3-point game. Can they get it back to just the 2? Set up by Meppelink, Van Iersel. Ah, that's clever. Such intelligent play by Van Iersel. So Van Iersel looking just to try and finish this set off. She's had a fair few points won on serve, the most out of all the 4 players so far. That one was almost straight at her face, but they're able to keep it alive here, the Dutch pair. But the Poles should be able to sort themselves out to finish it off. Kolosiniska with the spike, but it's straight to Van Iersel, who is able to win the point. Well, how did they do that? It was a point that really they had no right to win. Maybe got a little lucky with the ball hitting the net, which allowed them to reorganise themselves. Here it was, but you have to give credit to Meppelink. She was able to react to the situation Polish pair probably should have finished it off there. But they turned defence into attack. And they're now just 2 points away with a 5-point advantage. Brzosztek now on the spike, and she's overcooked it. Goes out the back of the court, and all of a sudden, it'll be 6 set points for Meppelink and Van Iersel. Van Iersel then to serve. Cross court to Brzosztek. Go up on the spike and goes down the line. Manages to avoid Meppelink at the net, who was trying to get the block in. Saw the space. Meppelink maybe just leaving a little too much room down this near side. Still set point though to the Dutch pair. What can Kolosinska do? Goes down the line. She liked that serve yesterday, using it again here. And that one's just nudged wide, so maybe a few nerves hit. A couple of the set points saved. Just never know in these types of situations when you lose the first couple of set points, particularly on errors. And you can get a little edgy. Kolosinska again, will she go with the same serve? She does exactly that, but gets a little bit too much swerve on it and it goes out, and it means the Dutch pair have been able to take the first set. So Meppelink and Van Iersel taking it by 21 points to 16. And the 7th seeds lead the 8th seeds in this first semi-final here in Olsztyn. Fiercely competitive semi-final. Just feel that maybe the Polish side started a little slow, maybe a few nerves coming out of the blocks. Van Iersel and Meppelink rocketed out of the blocks themselves. Plenty of discussion between them. Get the feeling the second set may be a little bit tighter as we watch some of the highlights. There's plenty of excellent beach volleyball though. It was a high standard semi-final. Not too many errors from either side. Most points won with winners. Really, it was the Dutch pair who just won the majority of the duels at the front of the court. A little more clinical on the spike. And you have to say Van Iersel, with her serving prowess, was able to pick up the majority of points on serve, and that was the real difference. Didn't see too many points won by Kolosinska. As we saw yesterday in the quarter-final, she was able to pick up a fair few cheap points off her first serve. It is a wonderful event. As I said, the 12th time that Poland has held a Grand Slam, first time in Olsztyn, and they're doing a cracking job of it. 12 legs here in the small northeastern city. And this event based right on the Iersel lake itself. As you can see, it overlooks the lake. Beautiful part of Poland. If you ever get the chance to visit, definitely do so. And if you can come during this beach volleyball Grand Slam event, even better. So the second set started with an error, with a service fault from Van Iersel. Brzosztek next to serve. First time that they've had the lead, the Polish pair. Meppelink underneath it. Here's Van Iersel to set it up for Meppelink. Super block by Kolosinska. And maybe they can get the crowd going early on in this second set. It all went a little quiet early in the first. Kolosinska with a superb block. Haven't seen too much of that. Brilliant serve as well. Backed up by Brzosztek. Going down the middle, causing confusion between Meppelink and Van Iersel. Separating the Dutch pair. Also getting the weight of the serve just right to dip it inside the court. 3 points to 0. Again, it's Van Iersel with the set. Meppelink going with it, and this time just about getting it past the giant Kolosinska at the net. Kolosinska, who is 5'10" tall. Both Meppelink and Van Iersel, incidentally, a little taller than that. Van Iersel 5'11", Meppelink 6 foot. Meppelink with the serve, straight to Brzosztek. Set a little close to the net, which means that the Dutch will look to try and pinch the point, but it's handed straight back to the poles, and this time Brzosztek on the spike is able to get the job done. Got a hand to it, didn't she, Van Iersel? In fact, it was Meppelink, I beg your pardon, who got a hand to it. As I say, sometimes tough to separate, both with their white caps and sunglasses and blonde hair. Here goes Meppelink. Didn't go with the power, just placing it into the back court. Well, usually the Polish pair like to try and get Kolosinska up as the blocker. She was a little late in getting up for the block on that occasion. It's overhit that time by Van Iersel. Signals to the server then from Kolosinska. Where will Brostek go? Out the back of the court. I'm sure that wasn't what Kolosinska was signaling to her. Late second set then. Poles with the marginal advantage of 2. Meppelink next to serve for the Dutch pair. Could have been going out. Kolosinska didn't take the risk. And she finished the point off though. Van Iersel is there. Van Iersel will look to try and finish this one off. Great spike. Angling it cross court. Pointing to her partner Meppelink, who had a great part to play in that point. It was a lovely little set. Exactly where Van Iersel was wanting it. Going across the court. No chance for the Polish pair on that occasion. Meppelink again to serve. Underneath it is Brostek, and Kolosinska finishes it off. They weren't really ready for that, were they, the Dutch team, expecting a third hit. Different formation this time for the Poles, going short, and it works. Brostek now to try and finish it off, and, well, maybe, just maybe, rushed it a little there. Saw the space on the court, saw the opportunity, but couldn't quite finish it. As I say, haven't seen too many errors on the spike. That was an opportunity for the Poles to win a point on serve. As it is Van Iersel next to serve. Goes to Brostek. It's Kolosinska with the set. Cleverly done though by Brostek. As Meppelink backpedaled, going away from blocking, going into a more defensive situation. But able to get it away from both the Dutch pair. Brostek then to serve, going short. It's well received by Meppelink. Touched in the air by Brostek. Brostek now looking to finish, and again though, fires it into the net. Second error in a matter of just a few points. Brostek from Łódź, 26 years of age. Her only career win coming at that age group World Championships in Blackpool. Kolosinska now with the set. Work to do for Brostek. He's probably going to be feeling pretty low on confidence. Maybe went a little conservative with that spike. Brostek now setting up for Kolosinska, who had a nice run up, but she's fired it wide. Just a few errors then creeping into the Polish game. And as they change ends, it's 7 points apiece, and I'm sure Kolosinska and Brostek will feel that really they should have the lead in this set. They've created the opportunities, they just haven't been able to take them. Meppelink then to serve next. It's the running serve, but fires it into the net. Tongue out from Meppelink. A little frustrated with herself, no doubt, after that last serve. Kolosinska with the standing serve, floating it in, targeting Meppelink. He's got work to do on this spike. Had to hit it from a long way out. Set wasn't the best. Fires it out the back, and the Poles re-establish the 2-point cushion. The crowd try and get behind them. Kolosinska then to serve again. Well, she floated in again, she will indeed. Going down the middle this time. Here comes Meppelink. Nearly tipped over the net by Kolosinska, helped over by Brostek. And then trying to catch them by surprise is Van Iersel, but Brzostek should try and finish the point here, but it's a super block right at the front of the court by Meppelink. Just read where Brzostek was going to go there. Excellent little rally. It's going to be a bit of a body blow for the Poles again. You again feel it was a point they probably should have won. With great hand skills at the front of the court by Meppelink. Van Iersel next to serve. Trailing by a point in this second set. Remember, it was the Dutch pair who took the first. Van Iersel underneath this one, and she'll get the opportunity just to dink it over Kolosinska, who sets beautifully for Brzostek. And thanks to that set, Brzostek is able just to dink it over the blocker. And she lost out in that duel on the last point, if you remember. It was Meppelink with the block, not this time. Going for a different tactic of just lobbing it over the blocker. Brzostek now with the serve. Van Iersel underneath this one. Work to do on the spike, kept up in the air by Kolosinska, but couldn't quite guide it towards Brzostek. Again, it's back to within a 1-point game. Tantalisingly poised then this second set. Meppelink, the next player to serve. Brzostek looking nice and ready. Will she target Brzostek? No, goes to Kolosinska. Brzostek looking just to try and find the backcourt, but just got a little too much of it. And we are back level in this second set, 10 points apiece. Where will Meppelink go on this occasion? Down the middle to Brzostek. Good organisation that by the Poles. Takes a nick off the net. It was tight, it was close, but it dropped the right side for the Poles. And as we hit a technical timeout, it is the Polish team who continue to lead in this second set. They haven't been behind, remember, they've led the entirety of the second set so far, but it is a small lead. 11 points to 10. Just a reminder, incidentally, coming up after this one, 11:15 local time, it'll be the second semi-final. Jantien van der Vlist and Sophie van Hestel of the Netherlands taking on Talita Antunes and Larissa França. So it could well be an all-Dutch final. Well, I'm sure the majority of the fans here at this wonderful centre court in Olsztyn will be hoping that isn't the case. They'll be wanting both Kolosinska and Brzostek to fight back here in this first semi-final. And they're showing some fight, certainly, in this second set. As I say, they've led the whole way through, but it's a marginal lead by just a point. So we take a look at some of the slow-motion highlights. In an action-packed second set and first semi-final. Great serve by Kolosinska. Too hot to handle for Van Iersel. And again, they have that 2-point cushion. Look at the swerve on this ball. Dipping and swerving one way then the other. You can understand why Van Iersel wasn't able to control it. Can we get another? That's a little better this time by Meppelink, but she's got work to do on the spike, but work she does. Getting plenty of power on that hit. Crowd again cheering Polska, Polska. Van Iersel going with the run-up. Will be looking for power, or will she? Floats it in towards the back court. Kolosinska nudging it to the front of the court. Van Iersel going up against Kolosinska, but great awareness by Van Iersel. Kolosinska made herself big, but couldn't get her hands across. That was beautifully played. Terrifically accurate. We're level again. Can the Dutch team, for the first time, take the lead? Kolosinska underneath the serve. Goes up with the set, and with the dive is Van Iersel, but she just can't quite keep it alive. Both the Dutch players finding themselves on the floor. And again, the Poles take the lead. Every time that they seem to take the lead, they just can't quite get away from the Dutch team. Decent effort from Van Iersel to get there. There was a bit of a collision, as you can see there in the background. Momentarily, Kolosiniska just worried about Meppelink, but she's got back up to her feet. I think she's okay, which is good to see. Would hate to see this second set or first semi-final stopped because of an injury. Powerful hit that time by Meppelink. And despite Brzostek being in the right place at the right time, couldn't deal with the power. 13 points all. Meppelink going short. Little nick off the net makes it awkward for Kolosiniska, but it's well kept alive by Brzostek. Meppelink trying to finish it off. Kolosiniska gets the ball back. Well, this is an extraordinary rally, and it's one that the Dutch win. And for the first time in this second set, they have the lead. Almost like a bit of a tennis match. At this point, just the one hit from both pairs. And it's the Dutch who come out on top. And is that the rally that turned this second set on its head? As I say, first time that the pair of Meppelink and Van Iersel have got the advantage. Meppelink with the serve, Kolosiniska underneath it. Can she finish it off? She can. Finds the line with the spike down the line. 14 points all. Feel the momentum slightly with the Dutch though. Shots like that though will certainly help the Polish duo. Kolosiniska, what can she do? Goes down the middle, Meppelink underneath it. Going up against Kolosiniska. Brzostek's there at the back of the court though. It's going to be a little bit of a fight here. And they'll have time to set it, although they decide not to. Brzostek thinking she can win it just by nudging it into the back court. And again, they'll have time to organise themselves here, the Poles. It's a point that they really should win. Kolosiniska going down the line. But again, they can't finish it off. And now the Dutch team with the opportunity to do that. It's going to be a little close to the net. Takes the nick off the net. And the Dutch, for once, aren't there. Maybe not anticipating the net caught. A little bit of fortune for the Poles as they retake the lead. Bit of everything in this rally. Both teams organising themselves superbly well defensively just to keep it going. It was a set really from Kolosiniska. Maybe a bit of a breeze just took it over the net. And the Dutch weren't there, as I say, for once. They've been brilliant on defence throughout this match. Meppelink on the attack with a beautiful tip. It's 15 points all. Get the feeling this set could go on all day. Fiercely contested. Van Iersel next to serve. Powerful one, went for the ace. Didn't miss it by much. Worth a go. Both the Polish team hit, Kolosiniska and Brzostek, just had to watch and hope that it bounced wide of the line, and it did. As you saw by that replay, didn't bounce wide by much. Van Iersel with the set, Meppelink looking to finish it off, and does so. Going down the middle of the court with the spike and with the set. That gave her the option of going right or left, choosing to go to the left of Kolosiniska. There is Meppelink then. Kolosiniska underneath it, kept alive and dinked into the corner. Super play. Didn't look like it was completely under control, but it was a great diving set, if you can call it that, by Brzostek. Nicely, tidily finished off by Kolosiniska as the Polish crowd again get themselves involved. Here comes Meppelink. Great fast spike, but Brzostek's there. Cheers from the centre court. Meppelink, Van Iersel now looking to finish it off. Brzostek's there again. Third time lucky maybe for the Dutch, and it is. Meppelink firing it into the ground. Firing it into the sand, and Brzostek, who was able to keep the point going with a couple of excellent digs and receptions in the rally. Unable to do it at the third time of asking. Great hand skills a couple of times, but the crowd trying to will Their female stars on here. Polska rings around. Kolosińska underneath it, a little close to the net. She's got work to do on the spike, but almost perfection. Finds the line. Again, the Poles edge in front. They've only been behind once in this second set. Look at that accuracy. Brilliant cross-court hit. Here's Brzostek then. Going short, nice little serve. Meppelink will look to try and finish the point off. Excellent awareness again. Brzostek covering the cross-court hit. And hoping that Kolosińska could block it down the line. Kolosińska maybe a little slow getting up. There is Meppelink. Floating it in deep. Brzostek, great dive by Van Iersel. And not only is it a great diving dig, it's a great spike as well. And the Dutch have the lead for just the second time in this second set. And they are now just 2 points away from a place in the final. Remember, these two teams have met 3 times before. Meppelink and Van Iersel winning twice out of those 3 times. Are they going to get a third win over Kolosińska and Brzostek? Looking to reach what would be their second Grand Slam final of the year. Incidentally, it will be their 4th final. Within touching distance now. Although this crowd will be hoping that that isn't the case. Sometimes feel when you're playing in a country which isn't your own against a home nation, you can often use the crowd to your advantage to try and get you more focused. It's been a brilliant tournament for the Dutch, no doubt about that. As I say, 2 semi-finalists. Are they going to get one in the final? 2 points away. Meppelink to serve. Down the line to Brzostek. Set up by Kolosińska. Brzostek, pressure on the spike. Did she feel the pressure? I don't think so. Wasn't much margin for error on this hit. Had to angle it so close to the net, and it was so close to the line as well. Had she got that a fraction wrong, and they would have been staring match point in the face. As it is, it's 19-all. Who's going to get either a set point or a match point? Van Iersel down the line, finds the line. And it will be a match point for the Dutch pair. Well, they've been trailing for the majority of this second set. But thanks to shots like that, they've been able to turn it around. And it is Van Iersel with the running serve who will try and finish this first semi-final off. Floats it in, it's a good serve as well. Kolosińska is underneath it, but she's got work to do with the spike. Van Iersel there, Meppelink! It's there! And the Dutch reach their Grand Slam final. It's the second Grand Slam final for them. After reaching the final in Moscow, they get to the final in Olsztyn. Can they go on to claim their first Grand Slam title? That is the question as a pair. Brilliant performance from